LAPs. We're going to talk about LAPs, leads, appointments, presentations, and sales. 20-something years ago, I started my first business, and we just got straight out of the gate, and we did over $1 million in sales in our first year. And we had this really cool townhouse, 4-story townhouse with, like when you know, on the ground level, we had like the cinema set up where we used to have movie nights and, you know, order the Chinese food, and everyone would come around to our house and do all that. We'd go down to the video store and rent videos and then come back and do all that. And then on the next floor up, we had the offices, and there was my office, and then there was Glenn's office, and in the hallway in between, we had 4 cardboard boxes, and there was one cardboard box that said leads, and anyone who had filled in one of our little lead cards went into the leads box, and then it was appointments, so we'd call them and make an appointment to speak, and then they were in the appointments box, and then presentations, which means we'd spoken to them, we'd told them what we can do for them, we'd presented our value, and they were in the presentations box, and then they filled in a credit card form and went ahead, and the sales box was the final box, right? So this was our CRM system. This was our very first HubSpot funnel. It was just cardboard boxes, leads, appointments, presentations, and sales. This simple little system has actually scaled multiple businesses that I've had. So we always just have our LAPS dashboard. How many leads a week do we generate? How many appointments do we book in? How many people do we present our value to? How many people buy? And all we're trying to do is just optimize for those 4 things. When you think about £1 million in a year, it's like if you take 50 weeks, let's say to re-round, obviously there's not 50 weeks, you know, it's probably more like 46 weeks or something like that. But if you take those weeks, roughly speaking, if you're selling something that's like $7,000 and you make 3 sales a week, that's like 21,000 a week. And if you do that for 40-something weeks of the year, that's £1 million. Like, that's how I think about £1 million. It's like, figure out how much it is in a week, and we just repeat and repeat, repeat, repeat. If we can figure out a perfect repeatable week and just crank the handle, crank the handle, crank the handle, crank the handle, then if we just repeat that enough times, £1 million for the week, right? So that's that's essentially the key idea here. So what I want you to be thinking about is, what does your LAPS look like, right? So what's it gonna, there we go. What's your leads, appointments, presentations, and sales gonna look like for your business? So here's what I wanna do. Just very rapidly, I wanna go through and talk about how do we optimize for each one of those. And I'm just gonna give you some rapid fire tips, how to get more leads, how to get more appointments, how to get more presentations, how to get more sales. So let's talk leads to begin with. Has anyone ever heard of the red car example, the red car phenomenon? That if I send you out for a walk in the local neighborhood and you go for a 20-minute walk and I say, okay, cool, give you $5,000 for every red car that you remember seeing and the license plate number, you all get 0. And if I said at the beginning, for every red car that you see, if you can come back with the license plate number, you get $5,000. You walk the exact same pathway and you come back with like 15 red cars. They were always there, but you just knew what to look for in the second one. So the first key to having leads is knowing exactly what to look for. So what we always do is create the ideal customer persona, ICP. It's a marketing terminology. The ICP is there to focus your mind. That's your red car. So Tracy is one of my red cars. I go looking for Tracy's. Tracy's someone I know. She's been a friend for many years, so I know her quite well. I know how she thinks and I know what she's like. So she's the founder and CEO. She's had 15 years experience. She's in the services industry. She employs 5 people. She's got revenue of about $500,000, biased towards taking action, comfortable with sales, mostly sells time for money, sitting on lots of potential intellectual property. She's friendly, warm, and professional to work with. Whenever I'm creating content, I'm doing the Tracy test. Would Tracy read this? Would she be interested in this particular piece of content? Would she find this too far up here? Would she find this too basic? I'm trying to tune in and create something that Tracy would be interested in. So you need to get your Tracy. You've got to create your ICP, your ideal customer persona. Have a quick think. Write down the name of someone. Who would you write down who you would love to push into a cloning machine and have lots of appointments with? Right? If you could just have like a week of appointments, 10, 15, 20 appointments in a week with your sales team, and you get the chance to talk to a particular person, who would be a good example of someone you'd love to talk to more? You've probably already got a real customer that you've worked with in the past who is great, right? You might want to just write down them and just maybe put down 3 or 4 things about them that make them such a great ideal customer persona. So there's 2 things I would love you to add to the list. Thing number 1 is if you were talking to that person and you were saying to them, you're going to be celebrating something 3 years from now and you're super pumped that that's what you're going to be celebrating. That's what you're excited about. That is your 3-year thing that gets you excited about in the future. What do you think your ICP would say, I want to be celebrating this 3 years from now? What do you think they would say is their goal 3 years out? Now try not to make it too obvious that it's like about what you do. So if you're a video production agency, don't be sitting there saying, my goal for 3 years from now would be high quality video production that is like, no, that's your goal, that's great. What's their goal 3 years from now? Second thing I want you to write down about this person. Imagine last night that they were sitting up late into the evening, stressed about something, worried about something happening. They've been worried about this thing that's been going on, it's been causing them dramas, they're not thrilled, they're not happy, keeps coming back, a bit of a recurring frustration. What are they frustrated about? What are they worried about? And then the third thing would be they really want that goal, but they're a bit embarrassed to say that something just keeps getting in their way. They've tried stuff that hasn't worked. There's things that always kind of stop it from happening. What would be something that's getting in their way from getting what they want? When I think about my ICP, I always start with this little diagram, which is what's their current reality, right? Where are they now? What's their desired reality? What is it that they want? And what are the obstacles and criteria? Why haven't they been able to just immediately get what they want? What's stopping them? So current reality, desired reality, obstacles and criteria. That mental model, so powerful. That dictates people's behavior. The reason people buy any of your services or any of your products is because they have a current reality, they have a desired reality that would be better, and they have obstacles and criteria that stop them from immediately just getting what they want. That is the formula that drives all buying behavior. Your product or service is essentially a path of least resistance that takes them from their current reality to their desired reality in a set of steps and processes that's repeatable, that's methodical. Right? They've tried other stuff, boom, they hit their obstacles, boom, they hit their obstacles. They tried something that just didn't quite make it to where their desired reality was. Right? So they've done all of this, and then you come along and say, hey, look at this, I've got this repeatable process, gets you from your current reality to your desired reality without hitting your obstacles and criteria. And that is the formula for people buying stuff. Right? So that's the first thing we want to do. When we do our ideal customer persona, to the degree that we absolutely understand the language that they use and the way that they think about this stuff, the more we can tune in and meet their needs. So the first key to leads is knowing who we're looking for and this sort of information about them. Alrighty, let's talk about how you would generate lots of leads. I'm going to go through this pretty quick. So, when it comes to generating lots of leads, one of the things that we need is a really good piece of signature content. So signature content, think about this as almost like you laying out your thesis as to why you exist in their world. So the thesis behind your business, right? So a really good piece of signature content explains that there's these problems in the world, and a lot of people struggle with this stuff, and they try all these things that don't work, and here's what we've discovered, we've solved this, here's how we solved this, right? You're really explicitly explaining this is what we do, this is why it's valuable, this is why our business was set up in the first place. A great sentence that you should unpack in your signature content, you want to write this sentence down, is, I did something special for a certain type of person, and we got a remarkable result. ... Let me explain. Those stories are sales stories. Those are lead generation stories. Anytime you can tell a story that fits that template, you are going to attract your audience. You're going to attract people. I did something special for a certain type of person. We got an extraordinary result. Let me explain. Who's got one that comes to mind? Who's got a story like that? Who can think of the last 3 years?
I've been a coach, I trained in imposter syndrome, and she had a client who had been offered a C-suite role and he was about to turn it down, and she cleared it for him in 45 minutes.
And then what happened?
He got promoted and he's thriving.
He got promoted and he's thriving. Now that's a perfect example of that story. Now if we take that story and we start like a little headline and tell that story, and then we say, let's break it down step by step, that's good content. That's great content. That should be in what we'd call signature content. So signature content, normally it can be 500 words to 1,500 words. Ultimately, it ends up becoming a book. You know, can become a white paper or a report, right? It can become a really good signature piece of content. Sometimes a signature piece of content could be a really good video, you know, but it's an explainer video. It doesn't pull punches. It really tells you what you're up to, right? So this is a piece of signature content. At the bottom of the signature content, there is some sort of register your interest call to action. Right? So some sort of call to action for registering interest. The typical ones that you're going to see would be things like a waiting list, join a waiting list. So if you've got something new that's coming, you'd have a waiting list there. You might have a discussion group, join the discussion group. You might have a scorecard. So I've read the signature piece of content, I resonate with it, and now I go, ooh, I'd like to join the waiting list for that product, or I'd like to join the discussion group, or I'd like to take the scorecard. So that's one of the key assets that you're going to set up, right? That sits with your business. Yes. Feel free. By the way, feel free to ask questions, interrupt me. I love being interrupted.
Are you in favour of having those 3 or whatever multiple calls to action, or would you just suggest have one?
Tends to be that 1 or 2 works. So we're going to be launching something, join the waiting list. Also, if you want, you can join the discussion group that we've got coming up. Yeah. I like, the perfect scenario is like 1 good, powerful call to action. But if you want to kind of have 1 or 2, yeah, it's not too bad. So signature content, they read it, boom. Now there's something to do. It's no cost, it's free, it's register their interest. So then here's what we like to do. We like to then create little posts along the way. And there's 3 posts that always get great traction: pain, news, and prize. So if you're talking about anything that's painful or frustrating, current reality that's less than, all right, if we go back here, why the current reality is not so good, why the obstacles and criteria, those are all painful. Prize, desired reality content, or news, just stuff that's trending at the moment. And what you can do is you can make little posts, little videos, little LinkedIn posts, and you can link people back to, if you want to learn more about this, you can check out this signature piece of content, so you can link back to that. Or you can say, leave me a DM, leave me a comment. You can like what I'm posting. Martin's great. Whenever I'm giving these videos, he's always like, Dan, finish off with, don't forget to like and subscribe this post, right? So like and subscribe, all these little bits of content, right? So that all there. So we're setting ourselves up to get some leads. When people are doing, these posts can also encourage people to go to waiting lists, discussion groups, scorecards, etc. So when people are filling these in, we're just going to call all of this stuff leads. Leads are, they've joined a waiting list, they've entered a discussion group, they've filled in the scorecard, or they've sent you a DM, or they've commented. That can also be a lead. if you really, really, really want to pick up on soft signals, they've liked it, right? They've liked your LinkedIn post. You could pick up on that if you're desperate for some leads. All right, but basically this is all happening around here. It's generating some leads. So if I was talking to Tracy, I would say, let's talk about prize. I might say this to Tracy. If you've been in business for more than 10 years, which I know she has, if you've been in business for more than 10 years, you're probably sitting on incredible amounts of valuable intellectual property. And that intellectual property could be worth more than your time. In fact, many business owners turn their intellectual property into products, services, and productized services that don't require them to spend anywhere near as much time in their business, but make way more money. Now I'm talking about, oh, wait a sec, I've been in business for 10 years and I might be sitting on lots of intellectual property, right? So now I'm talking about something Tracy wants. News. Recently, I was talking to a business owner who successfully launched a brand new product. The brand new product was built out of the intellectual property in the firm, and they did the launch, and here's what I learned from that launch. Let me explain the launch that just happened. It's a little piece of news. Something's just happened. Or I could go with big news. I could say, we're coming up to an election. The new manifesto has just come out from one of the top political parties, and it looks like small business owners who are earning above $500,000 are going to get punched in the guts for taxes. What are the chances of that happening? That's just a random example, but so I might say that and say, you know, if you're a business owner who's doing that, you know, these are the key points that I've picked up on the recent manifesto. So that would be an example of news. So all of this, we're doing a lot of what Martin talks about, the content engine, right? All of that getting us some leads. Okay, so let's talk about appointments. So leads, appointments. There's two types of appointments that really, really matter. People need to book into, can I get a quick show of hands? Who here has they offer services, like you've got a major, okay, all of you, right, great. So there's two types of appointments that matter. The first one is a one-to-one strategy session, and the second one is a group intro. So your whole business is going to be built on one-to-one strategy sessions and group intros. One-to-one strategy session is where you start by sitting down with someone and explain, like, get to know each other a little bit, have a bit of a chat. Say, would it be helpful if I start with 4 or 5 minutes of just explaining who we are and what we do? Yeah, sure. And you've got a really good presentation ready to go. You've got 4 or 5 minutes of, like, you know, here's who we are, here's who we work with, here's some of the stuff that we do. So that's your presentation. That's presenting to someone what it is that you can do to help them. So you're going to be presenting to them on the one-to-one, and then you're going to be discussing that with them, and then from the discussion they're either going to buy or not buy, and it's going to be a sale. So there's going to be a presentation part of your one-to-one. On a group intro, there's going to be a presentation that you're going to be giving that helps people to understand what you do. So we just saw Martin do his presentation about going from a completely random approach to content to having a Roman soldier, Roman legion approach to content, right? So he presented it in a really great way. Many of you are now thinking, oh, I wish I had that. Maybe I need to talk to Jamie. So one-to-ones and group intros. So you can scale your business big time if you're just doing more one-to-ones and more intros. Pretty much, if it's a one-to-one, you really need to be thinking about 10K plus as the ultimate punchline as to what signing up looks like. And when I say 10K plus, could be 10K like lifetime value of a client, could be 10K, you know, initially. But your time is so valuable. If it's unlikely to be a 10K thing, it's probably not going to get you to your business goal. Group intro tends to be really perfect if what you're doing is 1K to 10K. right? So if it's easy for people to make a decision and sign themselves up, if it's a bit more of a cookie cutter approach, definitely the group intro. In 2004, 2005, I scaled my business from about 1 million to 10.7 million. Right? It was a super fast. We went from $1 million a year to $1 million a month. How did we do that? We discovered exactly how to present the business. We just got a presentation down. And all I did was ran 174 presentations. So we did 174 presentations, average about 300 to 400 people per presentation, so live events, and we just toured and toured and toured and toured and toured, and we just figured out exactly how to present our value, and we just did intro, 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 intro. So what is an intro? An intro is a short event that introduces people to your world and why your world's valuable to them. Now here's how it works. You are totally swimming in the water of what you do. You've probably been doing it 15, 20 years, right? So you're just like, you know all the stuff. But someone who's unfamiliar with it, they just, like for them, it's just all the basics. The basics are very interesting to them. So if I was to introduce you to the 4 campaigns that I've been running for the last 20 years, you'd go, oh, that's really interesting. I'm like, I've been doing it for 20 years. Like, I can do that in my sleep. It's the basics for me, but it's interesting to people who are potentially clients. So an intro event is where you share your 4 pillars, you share the 10 basics that people need to know, you share the process or the method, you share the case studies, the transformation stories, right? Any of that stuff goes into an intro. If you want to scale your business, I recommend at least 2 intros a month. And it's pretty simple. Week 1, you try and fill the intro. Week 2, you deliver and follow up. Maybe you do it on a Monday, maybe you do it on a Tuesday, and you do the sales meetings all the following week. Week 3, you fill the next intro. Week 4, you deliver and follow up. So pretty good little rhythm there. You can do them on Zoom. Don't need to hire a live event. You can just do them on Zoom, and away you go. You've got yourself an intro event. Okay, I'm going to skip to presentations. I'm going to skip to sales. Why is sales so hard? Sales is so hard because you're juggling 3 balls, and the 3 balls is called logic, emotion, and urgency. Right, so why do people not buy stuff? They don't buy stuff because it didn't tick all 3 boxes for them. So there's logic, there's emotion, there's urgency. Now if I give all of you 1 tennis ball, every single one of you can go throw, catch, right? Easy. If I give you 2, it'll take you about 10 minutes to kind of figure out how to get 2 balls juggling. If I give you 3, it'll take you an afternoon of throw, catch, throw, catch, throw, catch to learn how to juggle 3 balls. And you'll drop the balls a lot before you actually figure out how to juggle 3 balls. What's good is that you will eventually, at the end of the day, you'll finish up knowing how to juggle 3 balls, and you'll probably remember that for the rest of your life. You'll always be able to go back to it once you've got it in there. Sales is a bit like this. You have to learn how to present what you do logically. You have to present what you do emotionally and connect with people emotionally, and you have to build a sense of urgency for what you do. And great salespeople can do logic, emotion, urgency, logic, emotion, urgency, logic, emotion, urgency. And they just weave it in as one thing, and it's like, wow, this person's really good at this. I feel like I want to buy from them, right? So it's like you're doing something to me, right? I want the thing. So logic, emotion, urgency. And they get good at it, and then they can sell anything. You can put them in any sales environment, they'll sell because they know how to weave together logic, emotion, urgency. The logic is all the stuff that fits on the spreadsheet. So if I pull up a spreadsheet and I say, logically, show me why I should buy from you, you should be able to pull up a calculator on a spreadsheet and punch in some numbers and say, well, how much time do you spend on this? And how much money do you spend on this? And how long have you been trying to do this? Boop, 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 boop. You go, boop, 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 boop. You're going to get a return on investment in under 7 months. Right? That's logic. It's like, logically, I can see that would work. Emotion is through stories. It's not spreadsheets, it's storyboards. So first there was a person who was upset and frustrated. They were trying something and it didn't work. And then suddenly they discovered something and then it worked and then they got what they wanted and everyone lived happily ever after, right? It's the emotional roller coaster, right? Emotion is always these emotional ups and downs, high points and low points. The ability to tell a story that hits on a low point and then comes back to a high point, so it's telling good stories. And urgency is really clear reasons why I should do this now rather than waiting. In your sales presentation, you can ask questions like, is there a particular big celebration or deadline or moment that's coming up later this year? And people go, yeah, actually, we've got this retreat that we're taking the whole team on. We're all going away to Spain. And say, great, wouldn't it be great if we could get all of this done, have the report and deliver it so that you can present the findings at the retreat in Spain? Oh, that'd be great. Bang, we've just done urgency. We've just found a reason to get this done now. Right? So so when you know what to look for, you can say, this is the information that I need in order to present this logically. This is the stories that I would tell to make this emotional. Right? And these are the things that I need to find out in order to pin it to a time frame and make this urgent. When you try making a sale and it falls over and the sale doesn't go ahead, I want you to score yourself. How well did I do at presenting this logically? How much did I emotionally connect? And did I give them a reason to buy sooner rather than later? Right? How was I at urgency? Because I guarantee you it fell down on one of those three. And every single one of you is naturally good at one, but not the others. And none of them is urgency. Not one person in this room is urgent. Because we're in the north of England, right? If we were in California or, the Americans, their favorite one is urgency, right? They walk into sales meetings and it's like, I'm going to sign you up today, right? That's their opening line, right? They love the urgency stuff. Very cool. Okay, so that's LAPS, leads, appointments, presentations, and sales. What you're really trying to do is just optimize every week. If you have a little dashboard somewhere that you can see it, and you just track it. How many leads did I bring in this week? How many appointments did I book into the diary for one-to-ones or group presentations? How many people did I present my value effectively, where I presented them who I am and what I do? And how many people did we have a conversation and they decided to go ahead and buy? And then your job is to just try and figure out over the next few weeks, what are your consistent lapse numbers? And then how can you improve those lapse numbers? And it can be that simple. Sounds good?